today's video, I'm sharing a week of high-protein plant-based meals. I usually aim to get around 30 grams of protein per meal, and all of these recipes come in at over 20 grams of protein. Some of them may require adding a little something to get closer to 30 grams, but in general, they are all a good source of protein. All right, enough talking, let's get cooking. So it's currently 95 degrees outside, but tonight I'm making soup. My son has been back to school for 10 days and has officially brought home the first virus of the season. There's so many wonderful things about having children, but being sick all the time definitely isn't it. With that in mind, tonight I'm gonna make my one pot golden lentil soup. It's made with fresh ginger and turmeric. It's really great for when you're not feeling well, when you need a little anti-inflammatory boost, and it's still a good source of protein, so it can help you meet your protein goals while also helping you feel nice and nourished. So let's go ahead and make it. So I realized when I went to make the soup that I only had half the amount of lentils I needed. Thankfully, my site has a feature where I can change the amount of servings so that it will give me the accurate amount of ingredients to use. The soup starts with finely chopping and sauteing an onion until translucent. Next, finely chop celery and carrots, then add to the pot and continue to cook. After several minutes, add minced garlic, grated ginger, and turmeric. If you don't have access to fresh ginger and turmeric, you can also use ground ginger and ground turmeric instead. Next, add 2 teaspoons ground cumin. All of the brown bits at the bottom of the pan are flavor, so don't worry. Pour in the broth and red lentils. Bring to a boil and reduce to a simmer. To the pot, add whatever chopped greens you prefer. I'm using lacinato kale, but spinach would also work well here. Cover the pot and allow it to cook until the greens have wilted and the lentils are tender. Pour in the coconut milk and stir to combine. Lastly, squeeze in fresh lemon juice. This not only brightens the flavor of the soup, but it helps your body absorb the iron and the lentils and kale. This soup offers around 20 grams of protein per serving. I like to serve it with a salad that has nuts and seeds and a side of whole grain bread to help me get closer to 30 grams. So I don't know if you guys could tell by my side profile or not, but I'm about 25% Italian. We're going back to my Italian roots for tonight's dinner and making gnocchi. Technically, I'm not making gnocchi. I bought it. I'm also making ricotta with tofu. My Italian ancestors would probably scoff at me. This recipe is great for a weeknight meal, especially if you prep the tofu ricotta in advance. Then it's as easy as chopping the vegetables and baking them with the gnocchi, serving with the ricotta, and you're good to go. To make the ricotta, you'll start by adding the tofu to a high-speed blender with a 1/4 cup fresh lemon juice, a tablespoon of white vinegar, a tablespoon of miso paste, and/or a tablespoon of nutritional yeast. Then add a teaspoon of salt, garlic powder, dried oregano, and basil. To make the ricotta with high-protein tofu, you'll need a tamper stick to keep things moving in the blender. You could also use silken tofu with a regular blender. Just keep in mind that the recipe won't be as high in protein. This is the gnocchi I'm going to use for the recipe. It is not gluten-free, but there are many brands that make gluten-free options, so you can easily make this gluten-free. To make the gnocchi, arrange on a baking sheet and lightly coat with oil. Bake at 400 degrees for about 10 minutes while you prepare the vegetables. After chopping the peppers and zucchini, remove the gnocchi from the oven and add the vegetables to the baking sheet. Lightly spray with oil and toss again until coated. Return to the oven and bake for another 15 to 20 minutes or until the vegetables are tender. So the gnocchi with the tofu ricotta comes in around 22 grams of protein per serving. To bump it up to 30, I'm gonna use this corn meatless filet, which does contain egg, so if you are fully vegan, you might not want to use these. Another way to bump up the protein to 30 grams would be to add some white beans. A half a cup has 8 grams, so It would be a very filling meal that way, but you would hit your protein goals. When ready to serve, spread the tofu ricotta on the bottom of each plate and top with baked gnocchi and vegetables. Finish with cooked protein, if desired, and garnish with fresh basil. Honestly, this meal looks and tastes like it requires a lot more work than it actually does. I have many variations of this baked gnocchi on my site because I love how easy it is to make. It's Tuesday, so you know what that means. It's taco night. I recently posted a recipe for baked lentil zucchini tacos, and tonight's dinner is going to be a riff off of that. Instead of lentils, I'm using this Abbott's ground beef. I like the ingredient list. It uses extra virgin olive oil, nothing too crazy. This is a great way to boost the protein of the tacos. If you're looking for something more whole food plant-based, definitely go with the lentils. It's still a good source of protein. These are all of the ingredients you will need. If you don't have all of these spices on hand, you can definitely grab a packet of taco seasoning and use that in place of them. To prepare the taco filling, start by finely chopping an onion. Warm olive oil in a large pot over medium heat and cook the onion until translucent. Then finely chop the bell pepper and zucchini and add to the pot as well. Next, add 2 teaspoons chili powder, 1 teaspoon ground cumin, 1 teaspoon smoked paprika, and 1 teaspoon dried oregano. Then add garlic and 2 tablespoons tomato paste. Lastly, add the protein crumbles or lentils and stir to combine. Continue to cook until the vegetables are tender and the filling is heated through. While I wait for the taco filling to cool, I'm gonna prep the avocado crema, which is kind of like a dipping sauce. It's optional for you to make it, but it's highly recommended because it's very good. To make the avocado crema, combine a half a cup dairy-free plain Greek yogurt with 1 large avocado, a half a cup fresh cilantro, a quarter cup fresh lime juice, and 2 to 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. You can easily make this without a food processor by finely chopping the cilantro and mashing the avocados with everything in a bowl. But I will admit, this tiny processor makes it go a lot faster. So now I'm gonna assemble the tacos. This is probably the most time-consuming part, but it's still not too bad. I don't need a ton of oil for the tortillas. I just put like a tablespoon, maybe 2 in a little jar. And then if you use a little brush, you can just kind of finely brush it on there. Or you can use oil spray and just lightly mist, but you don't need to use a ton of oil, so. I just do one at a time to keep the tortillas from getting dried out. I leave the other ones in the package sealed. The amount of baked tacos you get from this recipe will depend on the size of your tortillas. For example, using these almond flour tortillas, it made 9 tacos. But when I use a smaller corn and wheat tortilla, I'm able to get about 12. Quick pause to take some zucchini apple carrot bread that I am testing out of the oven. Look at that goodness. I'm gonna put these in the oven, 10 minutes on each side. Using wheat or corn tortillas will give you the crispiest texture, but the almond flour tortillas still crisp up pretty well. We are obsessed with this recipe in our house, and I'm not sure I can go back to making regular tacos again, because they're just that good. Ow, they're too hot. Hot, hot, hot.
This is like super hot. You really... I can't even pick it up, that's how hot it is.
How's it?
Can you do B now?
Tonight I am making a Mexican-inspired sheet pan meal. You basically just chop up some veggies and tofu, toss them with spices, and roast in the oven. Then once that's done cooking, you just serve it with some pre-made toppings. So it's quick, it's easy, it's packed with fiber and protein, all the good stuff. So let's get to it. So to make this, you'll need tofu. I like this tofu because it's high in protein and it's also very affordable from Trader Joe's. If you want to make a soy-free version, You can use this tofu. It actually has better macros, but the soy is a complete protein and the fava bean is not, so the nice thing about the high protein tofu is that you don't need to press it. I've just taken it out of the package and put it in a towel and just basically dried it off, and it's good to go. Preheat the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, then line a baking sheet with parchment paper. Dice the sweet potato into 1-inch cubes, then transfer to the baking sheet and lightly coat with oil. Bake in the oven for about 10 minutes while you prepare the tofu. Tear the tofu into bite-sized pieces. Tearing the tofu rather than chopping it allows for little nooks and crannies for the spices to adhere to. Lightly coat with cornstarch and spray with oil, then add to the oven with the sweet potato. Next, chop the peppers and onions. Remove the sweet potato from the oven and add them along with the corn to the baking sheet. Sprinkle with spices and toss until everything's evenly coated. Return to the oven and bake for about 15 to 20 minutes more. After the tofu has baked for about 10 minutes, remove it from the oven and add the spices. To the sheet, also add the black beans. Return to the oven and continue to bake with the vegetables until everything is tender. So as I'm prepping dinner, I just set aside some of the ingredients for my son's dish. He will not eat anything that has spices on it, so I have to set aside everything plain and then serve it with some ketchup and maybe like some avocado, because he'll eat avocado, he'll eat raspberries, a few foods that he'll eat, along with other foods that he's more reluctant to eat. But it's kind of how I do it so I don't waste a lot of food. When everything's done cooking, I like to serve it over a bowl of arugula and top with salsa and avocado. Shredded cheese would also be great here, as would any leftover avocado crema from the tacos. Between the high-protein tofu, sweet potatoes, and peppers, this meal is packed with fiber and protein. It's super filling, and leftovers hold up well for lunch the next day. Dinner tonight is going to be almond butter curry noodles, which come together on the stovetop and only require 30 minutes to prep. So it's great for those hot days when you don't feel like turning on the oven. To make this recipe high protein, I'm using red lentil spaghetti. I like that the only ingredient is red lentil flour. Then I'm also going to air fry some tempeh to serve with it to give it even more protein. The noodles have 20 grams of protein per serving, so adding the tempeh is optional, but it does help bump it up to over 30 grams. So I'm going to put the tempeh in the air fryer on the steam setting for about 5 minutes, just enough time to help the pores of the tempeh open so that it will absorb the marinade. To make a marinade for the tempeh, I'm combining 1/4 cup almond butter, 3 tablespoons tamari, 2 tablespoons rice wine vinegar, and a teaspoon of garlic powder. To make the curry sauce for the noodles, I'm also using 1/4 cup almond butter, 4 tablespoons tamari, a teaspoon of sesame oil, 4 tablespoons coconut milk, 1 tablespoon pure maple syrup, and 1 teaspoon of curry powder. Then I'm adding about a teaspoon of fresh garlic, half a teaspoon of fresh ginger, and turmeric. The base of the noodles begins by sauteing finely chopped onion along with bell pepper. Meanwhile, cook the spaghetti until tender. Drain and add to the pot with the peppers, then pour the almond butter sauce over top and stir until evenly coated. Serve the noodles warm with tempeh and garnish with fresh lime juice and cilantro, if desired. The noodles would also be great served chilled if you preferred something refreshing on a warm day.
You're itty-bitty.
And that wraps up a full week of meals. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see more like it, please give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Oh no. Shit. Oh my God. But if you want to make this soy-free, you can use Big Mountain fava bean protein. Oh my God. Mixing it up sometimes, and we'll use the fava bean tofu. Big Mountain fava bean tofu.